Well, here we are again. Good evening. Welcome back to Going to Ground. My name's Andrew Rumsey and I'm filming here in Marlborough in North Wiltshire. And today I've been around and about across the county, I'm pleased to say, and have visited two different churches, Barford St Martin this morning, where I was taking a service, and over at Cherrell, not far from here near Cairn, for a confirmation rehearsal this afternoon. So it's been a proper Sunday today with services and people in three dimensions, which is a joy at the moment after several just doing things remotely. Anyway, I'm going to read to you my weekly written piece, and that is reflecting on a visit made earlier in the week, which I told you about, the trip to Broughton Gifford. As you probably gathered, I was reflecting on those leper windows that I've discussed with you. Well, forgive me mentioning them again, but they caught my imagination, and so I did some reading and thinking around that on Friday. And as I often do, I'm going to read to you this, which will be another little chapter in the new book next year, probably. And if you want to read the current version of that, have a look at my WordPress blog, which you can find online, and also my Instagram feed, which is has some pictures of the windows as well as some from today's church visits too. So this is a piece called Leper Windows. Muddy skies and a dun-coloured day. Grubs of spray fleck the screen on the morning run to Devizes, as my daughter tells how a raucous girl sat behind her on yesterday's bus cussed the pandemic and all those crowding too closely about her. Obscuring herself behind the wall of her art portfolio, Grace sank into her seat and the sanctuary of headphones. There'll be more room, she hopes, on this morning's slow coach to Trowbridge. The last year has rearranged perceptions of space and place in ways that will keep anthropologists happily tapping out theses for some time to come. Our sense of personal boundary, so implicitly policed, is being renegotiated, perhaps permanently. And, as always, this holds real ethical and spiritual significance. Separation, set-apartness, is inherently linked to both health and holiness, to the concepts of pollution and taboo that Mary Douglas explored in her 1966 essay, Purity and Danger. An interesting book. I've had it for some years, but never really properly read it. It's about the boundaries of primitive and modern religious cultures, to do with cleanliness, holiness, and where the lines are drawn morally and physically and so on. Interesting anthropological study. Fear of defilement or infection is central to the way, she describes it at least, in which all cultures keep particular people and things at arm's length or even further. Yet any functioning society, Douglas concludes, must also learn to integrate the contradictions of material life and death and dwell with mortality's contamination, like the ash smudge on a Lenten forehead, or St. Francis lain naked on the soil as his hour approached. It's an old legend about St. Francis that his followers, when he was dying, took him out and undressed him and laid him on the cold earth. He wanted to be part of the earth. Goodness me, there's a going to ground metaphor. So he recognised his creatureliness as he approached his death. While we instinctively keep a Levitical distance from corruption and impurity, true sanctity is much messier, mingling the categories we normally impose. Witness the centuries of dispute about the nature of Christ in the early church, from which the creeds emerged. The problem of whether his divinity and humanity were distinct essences test tubed in antithesis, or could blend in some way, infusing each other as whiskey through water. This took so long to resolve, remaining suspended in a solution of words, because Jesus Christ was really the human question in concentrate. For those who would keep God like one at risk, remote in a well-swept heaven, the blood-sweating Nazarene is an awkward riposte. When women and men closest to him have tended to find themselves impelled ever further into the world's dirtier places. This present distance cannot last because it is, we sense, deeply inhuman. In the midst of death, we must be in life. And the impulse driving us over this boundary is no more or less than charity. Charity gets soiled, not set apart. And genuine care has about it a degree of care freedom, if not carelessness. The challenge now before us is to find ways of being thus engaged in adventurous love, while avoiding the folly of laying down our friends' lives for our own. In the early nightfall of Advent, I have crossed Wiltshire to find the former plague village of Broughton Gifford, delighted to be out and leading a service for the first time in weeks. The homes here are strung out like garments on a line, the lane unlit and pitted with black puddles. Hauling my vestments into church, I'm shown in the porch a row of 4 panes like portholes, ancient and pleasingly uneven. These are, I learn, leper windows, affording access to those kept apart from the community by sickness. Imagine such faces, greyed out and ghostly, pressing into the frames while others drew near. These windows have stayed and played on my mind in the 2 days since. They are small lights for the isolated. Friends, God bless you as you go to ground this week, and I look forward to seeing you soon.